But she does spot you, and just begins walking over. You're like, middle of a break, between spars and stuff like that. This is what she looks like. This her.
That's her.
Oh. Well,
She does walk around with a greatsword. A thin sort of greatsword.
Anime waifu.
She is an anime waifu. That's okay. She walks over to you. And I trust you are Sajar.
Ah, yes. Derek's mentor?
She nods once, like bowing, dipping her head a bit. Eleonora.
Eleonora. Pleased to meet you.
I'll type her full name, don't worry. Eleonora Giordano. Boop. I was told by Varric that you
I
wanted
don't
to
see it.
I put in general.
Oh, general.
My bad. Delete. You guys are posting stuff there, so I think I was just thinking like, oh yeah, there's art of weird shit there. That's close enough. Giordano.
Giordano.
May I? And she just gestures at the bench.
Of course.
She sits down her greatsword and sits down, crosses her legs, and just sort of holds her knee with both her hands. So, Varric wasn't exactly very specific or detailed in what he sent me. Can you explain what it is you need help with?
Certainly. I asked for help before I underwent a
Metamorphosis.
yes.
You told me that.
But I used to have magic at my beckon. And I'm not sure I do anymore, but that is how I was trained to fight. Blade and magic. Ideally as a single toolkit rather than a traditional mage.
She nods once. I see. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm not the best sort of person for that either. I have the capabilities of magic, such as it is with all my people. But I understand what it is you're, she rolls her hand, pitching. That I am familiar with. I don't necessarily use magic in the formal sense, spellcasting and things of that sort. But when it comes to supernatural capabilities, that I'm much more familiar with. And it is that I can help you with.
It would be my honor.
Bene. She stands up, grabs her sword, then follow me.
Yeah, I grab mine and I follow.
What an Italian.
Mamma mia.
She walks and like pulls her coat off of her and just hangs it on one of the posts that is at the edge of the Slayer training sparring ring. For your reference, she is an elf. A full elf. So you both enter into the ring, and she begins sort of tying her hair aside and just sort of making sure it's all tucked away, neat and orderly. And she finally draws her blade, and it is, well, you can tell it's mithril. Funnily enough. And it also has a series of engravings on it. What languages do you speak?
My languages are these.
You do not understand or recognize it. Oh, you recognize it. You've definitely seen it. It's Elvish. You just can't read it. Allow us to do an assessment round. Simply come at me with all you have. If it is too much for me to handle, I will say so. But until then, let us go into She like looks you dead in the eyes. One of us gives.
Understood.
Make me an attack roll.
Yeah, he said come at her, so he'd
Mhm.
do that with all he's got. He'd do, where is it? Where did I put it? Fuck. Boom. Put that in.
Oh, you
put
got
that
the
there.
image.
Yeah, put the image there.
Oh, my bad.
And-
there.
So and there's
There is a world you beat
Let's-
her still, I think.
what do I roll?
Attack roll.
Attack roll. Right. So let's do the fighting style. Attack that on. Where is it? So he'd walk towards her, sand shift to like behind her to try and get a sneaky blow in, and then so that should be tacked on. Yeah.
Ooh. 25 versus her 28. You both begin a bout, a spar. Although the way you and her are fighting definitely feels a bit more familiar. It's a bit of a dance. It is graceful, and it's an interesting thing. She never fully capitalizes on openings that you detect that you have. She merely like bats the palm of her greatsword at you, or punches you, trips you, that sort of stuff. Whereas, in a normal fight, you might use that to, I don't know, run someone through or something like that,
Maim
cripple
them, kill them.
Yeah, normal stuff. But in fairness, this is a sparring round. But you do like definitely see that you have more openings. Whether or not that's because you're in a new form, a new style, or just because she's just catching them, who knows? But after a certain point, you are not knocked unconscious. That's not the right word, but you are zeroed. As she like just sort of levels a greatsword at your neck, and it's like if she were to want to decapitate you, if she were to do a baseball like sort of curving swing, you would be headless. But she doesn't. She has a very peculiar fighting style for using a greatsword. Again, it's made of mithril, so it is immensely fast and fluid. But it's weird seeing a woman of her stature wield a big such a great sword so quickly. Again, mithril, true, but just weird. She also does do a series of God, what are they called? Not Morhow, although she does use that once. She what's called half sworded it. She half swords a lot. Or more often than you would think. And she also does, interesting enough, reverse grip it at times. So she is very, very, very fluid. But eventually you get zeroed. And then she just sort of pulls the blade away from you. Not bad. And then she immediately resheaths it. Not bad. I understand your eagerness to use these newfound powers of yours. But I would say a fight is a dance. And your partner, she just gestures holding a come at me dueling hand at you, is wary. Especially when you're stepping on your own toes too much.
I suppose I am at that.
Don't use it too often. Or else they'll start thinking that you're reliant upon it. It is a trick, not a maneuver. There's a difference.
He nods.
She pulls the coat back off the post, and she doesn't wear a coat more than just sort of use it as a cloak. She redons it. Aside from that, I would try to see what your capabilities are with it, more than exuding it out in this roasting aura. See if you can do more of it. Push your limit. Or inversely, listen to it utterly. See, whatever that is, and she just gestures at you up and down, whatever it is, such powers are not given lightly. There is some machination, some innate nature about it. Listen to it. See what it spurs you to do. That will open your mind to what it can do. Once you know your limits, you can push against them.
Right. I
But
always just accepted it as it was. I see.
there is more. Do not be afraid to think outside the box. There are many things you can do than merely swing a sword in a fight. She gestures all around. Everything here is a weapon to the clever-minded. Tricks up your sleeve if you know how to use them. In a noble duel, and she gestures and between the two of you and does a bit of a bow. In a noble duel, perhaps such isn't allowed, but when you're fighting to win, fighting for their survival, what does it matter? Understand the honor in certain fights, and the honor and victory in others.
Garth
Varric
nodding.
told me that you're something of a protector, a sentinel, someone that looks out for your fellows. Yes?
I try to be.
She nods once. There is more to protecting others than taking the hits for them. Sheltering them from blows. They will never get stronger if you keep cuddling them. I hope you realize that. She says with like a bit of a
Yes.
knowing smirk.
Yes. The truth of that statement was beaten into me at a young age. I guess I was a little overzealous in trying to shelter others from the same lesson.
She does a dismissive like flick and wave her hand. She like scoffs at it. Lessons beaten are not effective. You establish a pattern at best. There's no conviction behind it. The lesson is a lesson, whether it has to be spoken or beaten.
Mm.
One earns hearts, though. The other earns reflex. But she like dusts her hands off. That is not why I'm here. Let us continue. Follow me.
I follow.
Yeah, you follow her, and she takes you to a bistro. Bistro.
The bistro.
The bistro.
Goddamn bistro.
Bistro up
She-
in here.
You sit down. She instructs that if you haven't already, wash your hands, stuff like that. As you guys get seated, stuff like that. And she just says she's like, what do you want to eat? What do you want to snack on, drink, stuff like that. It's on her. And you
I
guys
think-
get some snacks, some refreshments. Anything in particular, Craven?
I think Sajar would go for are sandwiches popular out in
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Heartlands and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. It's so good for
Yeah.
travel food.
Yeah, he'd order a robust Heartlandic style sandwich.
Fair. Sure as a salad. Chicken salad.
Yeah.
Not a chicken salad in the sense of there's chicken on the salad, like a Caesar salad. She's sipping on some tea some green tea, hot green tea. I'm sure you're wondering why we're out here.
I am curious, yes.
Well, she sets down the teacup on the saucer, steeples her hands together, and you're just like, I see where Vera got it from.
Mm.
As she does that, you're just like, I see the resemblance. Well, it is important for a warrior, no matter who they are or what they use, what weapon they use, or what powers they call upon, she gestures at you. It is important to find your center of self. No, I'm sure Varric wouldn't inform you of this, but when I first interacted with him, when I first began teaching him, he was very, very discordant. He certainly had a seeker's orderly way, but inside him was a turmoil. How to say, wonderment. A sorrow about what his place is in all this.
I can see
What's-
myself in that.
She gets a smirk. It's important that you take a step back. Enjoy the little things while you have the chance. Because sometimes, some like, so more than water, like your actual drinks. Thank you very much. She slides it forward to you. It's times like these where you begin to realize what it is you're doing, what it is you're fighting for, or looking to defend. Varric tells me of your love, and allow me to say, I think it's very admirable.
Just like a little head bow, like acknowledgement.
Don't forget to breathe. Begin looking for the things that you and your love will do when you're reunited. I'm sure Varric would be the cynical he is and begin mentioning about how one should not look so far ahead to the future that they become lost to the present, but I would remind him that if there's nothing to look forward to in the future, then what's the point of doing anything? So,
You see this, the sort of the air like sort of leaves him, and he sort of leans back in the chair, like he's definitely been holding his breath, to put it metaphorically.
when your lady love returns to you, when you have a moment of respite like we have now, what will you do? Treat her to dinner? A nice glass of wine? Perhaps a show at the theater? Or a picnic? Maybe a nice hike to clear your heads, although I imagine you both are very well traveled, so maybe not the best idea.
I think perhaps a callback to when we first met. Night under the stars, some wine. Just listening to her story. What she's been up to in my absence.
Catching up. That's fair.
Yes.
Very fair. I've met many people in my travels. Many peculiar people, many capable people, many fools and geniuses. But the way Varric described you to me, I think you are quite possibly the penultimate example of distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Yes. I can only say yes to that.
And I understand your plight. She's so close yet so far. Varric did not tell me exactly what separates you two, but I know this. Whether you succeed or fail, I know a person in love will go to great lengths for they love. And for that, I wish you the gods' blessings.
And for that, I am very grateful.
Make me a religion check at advantage.
Religion, flat 0 mod, let's go.
That's okay. Yep. We got a lot of these today, huh?
My goodness, you get a 16 plus 3, but you don't have guidance.
Okay,
so.
I'm probably gonna need to veto some of these because I just don't think some of them will make any sense. But roll me a 1d18. Listen, if you land on Golshot Krognak, I'm vetoing it immediately. Okay, we're not going.
Aw, come on.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. All host Jack Setto.
Oh,
All host Jack Sarah. Interesting.
fade
This
and water indeed.
one might be big for you. Okay. One time. Only once. From now until the end of the path of the aspirant. One time. When you take a short rest, you can treat it as a long rest.
Oh.
One time. If you don't use it by the end of the path of the aspirant, you wasted it. Just like all them EFAs.
The all host provides.
Ulysses, it's very good to see you.
you.
Also, the fact that the Eastern Heartlands is Australian means it has interesting implications for Ulysses. Because now this is Australia, this is Scotland, so where the fuck is Sean Connery in all of it?
Sean
Oh
Connery.
my god.
He's just born with his own accent. No one can discover why.
I was
Mhm.
born in Perth, Scotland.
Oh, also like Acer with his accent that no one can fucking
Yup.
place where it's from.
Mhm.
God, I miss Acer. So,
I wonder what happened to him.
Yeah.
he died. So yeah, you have some luncheon with Eleonora. She is a rather interesting woman. She definitely has a wit as sharp as her blade. And that blade is plenty sharp. She never use it alone, but in your bouts with her, you definitely feel that it is more than just the mithril blade it presents itself as. I mean, in fairness, there's like elven iconography on it, fair enough. So there definitely is a more magical capability onto it. She's a very well-traveled woman, probably. You have no clue how well-traveled Tertiana is, but to be fair, Tertiana has like a chronological head start.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely get the feeling that she's a proportionate amount of traveled, and so on and so forth.
Has
She
some
does
talent
ask.
in there.
She does ask questions on Shamandrax, as well as your family, and she,
It's
in a weird way, encourages you to look to them for inspiration. Like, what would your mother do? What would your sister do? What would your brother-in-law do? What would your father do? She doesn't usually bring in the "what would your father do" when it comes to combat situations, by the way, but on out of combat stuff, she does ask. Like, you definitely become, or she drags them to the forefront of your mind by prodding these sorts of questions. But she doesn't stop at your family. She does ask, like, what would blank do when it comes to party members and stuff like that.
yeah.
Like, in one particular instance, here, I'm gonna roll a d5.
Oh, let it be.
Yeah.
Be useful.
At a
Just
certain point, when you're like, doing a bout against her, and she's sort of been like parrying your attack. Like she's like, I will not attack you. I will utterly block you. Like, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna bother trying to fight back. Just come at me. Like, you're like left exhausted, where she looks only slightly winded, and she just thinks for a second. What do you think your friend Anushka would do in such a scenario? She's quite clearly the ranged sort of fighter compared to all of you.
Yeah.
If you have an opponent such as I, who is blocking every melee attack, what do you think your friend would do? She definitely has a knowing look on her face as she asks this.
You probably take advantage of the time when you block my attack and shoot as you're blocking mine.
Interesting. What if she were alone? No allies.
She would probably retreat.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. Sometimes, perhaps such options are the best call. Not all the time, certainly, but sometimes. She is Twinsian, no?
Yes.
The Twinsian people have a certain overdriven survival instinct, but you cannot deny it has led them to today. So say you run. I give chase. What then?
I would seek out my allies if I can find them.
Let us say there are no allies. What then? You're being chased. You have your rifle. You have ammo. You ran into the thick swamp growths, the forests. One
Set up
man.
an ambush, perhaps? Camouflage?
Do you believe such tactics dishonorable, cowardly?
No, I just assumed other people do them more efficiently than I do.
She gives you like a bright smile. Very, very soft, gentle smile. Very good. And all that we do in this world, God's willing, we will be put against tests and obstacles. Ones that she gets like a very straight look on her face. Ones that will shatter us. Or try to. But if we are formless, then we cannot be shattered. Now, it is impossible for any more to be formless. But it certainly does help, and she taps the side of her head, thinking as others do. Other forms.
I see.
It will not be put to practice here. But in the future, I encourage you. Do try to work with your allies. Learn that which they do. The world is full of such curiosities. So much to learn. And you begin seeing now why Varric is so, how to say, for lack of a better word, smart. This is definitely a woman that encourages learning, whatever
Yeah.
your style is. And given Varric's very sponge-like brain of absorbing information, yeah, you can see why. So yeah, she just tells you, hey, in the future, see what your fellows have cooked up. You might learn something. Maybe from Anushka might learn how to ambush people properly.
Hey.
Ease the momentum early on in combat.
It certainly would be helpful.
Real.
Yeah.
Um,
You and her train. Don't get me wrong, she is absolutely not a taskmaster trainer. She is like sort of the opposite of Gradia, who will fucking run you to death and run you through if you are caught slow and lacking. No, she absolutely is like, okay, let's spar. Did you get it? Are you figuring it out? No, let's keep going. Let's take a break. If you got it, the faster you get it, the faster, we chill. But that's not the point. The point is not to end at chilling. The point is to end at figuring it out.
getting it.
Exactly.
I think something he would ask her is if she has any recommendation on how he should go about exploring the not the limitations, but I forget the word she used, the workings of the blistering heat that he's using. And he would also tell her that when he was in the service of Shimendrax, it took a slightly different form, but functioned much the same.
I would venture somewhere freezing cold. Somewhere where this roasting heat is subdued, and it is no longer an annihilating heat. It is your source of life, your source of warmth. Opposite of the great heat of the Fijian Peninsula, I would go somewhere freezing cold. Somewhat of snow or ice.
Well, I did go to Sindel a while back. Oh, the others did, I mean. I could go there, perhaps.
Perhaps. Although, do be careful of venturing too far north. The Everfrost up there is dangerous.
Right.
Alternatively, if you would like to try something here, something more local, perhaps submerge yourself in water.
Until
That
the
would
cold to
also
the flame.
subdue. Exactly.
Water.
I would
will
not
try that.
advise using the swamps. There's far too much in there.
Nasty. Yeah.
She takes a sip of her
I
tea.
think I know who to ask.
Bene. Then, if you need to go talk to them, do not let me keep you. I believe today's lessons are concluded.
It's like not like a full-on courtier bow, but like a respect, like a decent 45-degree angle bow,
Mhm,
like to your as you would to a teacher kind of thing.
Interestingly enough, every time like over all this training you've done so far, she will like put away like a glass or tea sauce or whatever, stand up, and she will always return it.
Interesting.
So yeah, whom do you go to find water or ice or snow or whatever?
Captain Rickard.
It's always Captain Rickard. Let's go. Oh, and baby, does Captain Rickard have exactly the place for you? Did you know that underneath, Oriana's pretty familiar with this, underneath the Seeker HQ compound area, they have like a med wing, in particularly an intensive care unit, which will submerge people in a vat. Sometimes, usually of healing substances, not like a Lazarus pit or anything like that. What's that? Who knows? That's not a well-known thing in the setting, but something sort of on par with it. So Ricker brings you down here, and he definitely asks like, why? Why do you want that? But then you tell him, and he's like, okay, I'm game. And he does say he can get a how to say, not a slurry because that makes it sound like it is ice in it, but basically like a hyper chilled liquid around you. Not like liquid nitrogen. Don't worry, you're not killing yourself, but something halfway there.
Yeah, definitely hypothermia stuff. Sure, yeah.
All right. Can't believe I'm gonna be doing this today, but you're pretty cool. He just like finger guns at you.
Finger gun back. You know, Captain Rickard.
This is me making a death save at the pun. Don't mind me. All right, understandable. Have a nice day, mate.
We've
Yeah, what's
been leaning on your good graces for quite a bit since we came here.
He doesn't dismiss away then. Yeah, don't mention it. Honestly, I'm still shakes his head. Still mad that Delvet's so messed up. So even that one I didn't get right.
Well, you know, I am planning on heading towards towards my home, and
Oh, yeah?
if I'm right, I will be able to acquire means there. So,
Yeah.
if there's anything
Means?
you need or want,
Come talk to me once you're done. We'll see. But right now, let's focus on this. And he taps like this metallic tank. Punk, punk. It's hollow, supposedly. At least not full of anything solid. Alright, let me hook this up.
so how does this work?
So,
Do I hold my breath?
I mean, it's just, imagine like a big bathtub. That's really what it is. If you want, I could put a lid over top of it, but I don't think you want that. I'd like you to be able to fucking surface, you know? But yeah, if you want to hold your breath and dunk yourself in it, that's fair game. You can be in the tub when it begins filling up, and he like rolls his hand like, woo, 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 begins filling up. Or I can fill it up and then you could step into it. Your pick.
Now, do I shock my system, or do I gradually introduce?
Hold on, give me a second on this. And he reaches into like one of the many multitude of pouches he has on, and pulls out this sort of like a talisman, like a paper talisman, and he rolls it up like almost like trying to put a message on a ball, and he slips it into the vat, the big tank, and you hear the sounds of something. How to say? Like a piece of ice being like hurled down a cliff and it's shattering, something like that. Just
I look at him, I look at the vat, I look back to him, and I raise an eyebrow.
just some elemental tricks, trying to get the cooldown.
Ah.
Yeah. Shrugs. Some Keblandic training put to use, huh?
I think I'll jump right in once it's full.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, he begins to fill it up, and it is technically just water. The thing is, this is like some pure ass water. It's like some proper Scandinavian pure ass water because it's like teal blue. It is like a bit weird. I mean, as exchanging, it's probably a bit weird to say it like this one. So
Yeah.
you go in to the deep end,
Yeah.
no
I just
acclimating.
dunk myself right in there.
All right, make me a con save at disadvantage.
I can do that. I can make a disadvantage.
I believe you.
And
I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe. I knew. I knew. I believed in you for a reason. I knew. I believed in you for a reason.
This man rolled a 12.
He's got a nice
Got
mod.
a 22.
Don't worry. We're doing this 2 more times. It threatens to. Well, let me put it like this. When a human body jumps into a freezing cold body of water, you are hit with shock. That is a literal physiological response. As you jump into this, that threatens to like immediately send you over the deep end. Not in terms of like knocking you unconscious, but definitely scattering your mind. But you manage to hold to like yourself and begin activating your. I was about to call it Rage Commander. It's not called that anymore. Your sweltering sun. Make me another con save. This one is straight. Ooh! Ooh! It's like, to those of you that have seen it, like Zuko in the Boiling Rock when they put him in the cooler. And then he like has to do like a breathing technique to keep himself warm as he unscrews the cooler walls. Something like that, Sajar. As you are surrounded by this freezing cold water, and let me just say, it never gets warmer. It never gets warmer. The only thing that's keeping you warm right now is the sweltering sun. And it is keeping you at a, I wouldn't say comfortable amount of warmth, but definitely like not in like a shock inducing or mind scattering or whatever like degree of freezing.
it's like going to the public bath outdoors here a little too early in the summer when it's actually just
Too
spring,
cold.
but you're stubborn.
Too cold.
And you're like, that was a mistake.
That was a mistake. Make me one more con save. This one is at disadvantage again as Rickard ups the ante. Ugh! 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 That's an ouch. That's an oof. That's a 3. That's a nat 3 plus
Do
10 right there.
we
That is a
have
fail.
Anything we can throw at this? I wonder.
No.
I
I think you're fresh out of inspiration.
That I do. Yeah.
Now I think, does anyone have any inspiration at this point?
No.
That is boo how. That is a boo how right there. That is hen boo. That is a hen boo how right there. That is very not good. So 13, huh?
Yeah, it looks that way. I don't have anything I can throw at this.
Yeah. This additional elemental scroll, or talisman rather, he adds to the vat, sends you over the deep end. You are blasted by a freezing energy that actually outright snuffs your sweltering sun. It's definitely there. You feel internally, but it is not radiating out of you, and more importantly, out to your extremities and your head and stuff like that. You begin going into an immense amount of shock suddenly. And it's not that you lose concentration, but it's just so subdued that you're not really feeling the benefit of it anymore. Rickard actually reaches and pulls you out. Just your muscles are almost like locked from how cold they are. You're shivering. Luckily, as soon as you pulled out the vats, it's nowhere as cold. The air is nowhere as cold as the liquid inside it. He throws a blanket or a towel over you as you start chittering. Your teeth chattering. Okay. So that one was the backbreaker, huh?
Very cold.
Oh shit! Right. He pulls out a different talisman that has a different icon on it, and he just sort of slaps it against his hand. It, those slap bracelets that you slap onto your wrist.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah.
He does something like that, and it wraps around his hand, and like his hands begin radiating like a gentle glow and a heat, and he just sort of holds it up and begins like sort of like almost like he's like hitting you with like a hair dryer, just sort of like sort of begins like warming you up. All right, start at the vitals. He like holds it towards your chest and your back and your head. Move into extremities, and he gets like the rest of you.
Yeah, Sajara is like hugging his arms to his chest and focusing on breathing.
Mm-hmm. Do you repeat the process?
Of course I do.
Rickard says that it will take him a little bit of time to be making so much of this like super cool liquid. You can do it one more time today though. So roll me 3 con saves. 1 disadvantage, 1. Well, let's start with the disadvantage one.
Disadvantage. Boom.
Okay, same deal as before. It sucks, but you're bearing with it. Roll me 1 straight. That's a fail.
16? Come
That's
on.
a fail. That's a fail, but you're not out yet. That being said, the next one is at disadvantage.
Just roll good, please. Deet, sprinkle some luck on me. Damn.
2 fails at that one. Once again, you are unable to maintain. Over the course of the coming days, I don't think it's a point of like we should just spam 15 rolls until you eventually get 3 in a row. Over the course of the coming days, you do eventually get at it. Can you make me 1 more con save at advantage?
Yes, okay.
Watch gets 2 nat ones. I'll go keck.
That would be so funny.
Alright, I can't go keck. It takes you, on top of the training you're doing with Eleonora, it does take you a while. She does inquire every now and again as to what your current status is. And she does remark that when you're using it now, it does seem stronger. In like, not in like unnoticeable like little increments either. Like it actually does feel like chunks more. It actually gets to a point that as you like finally manage to hold on to it one last day before carnival time, one last day of training and doing this fucking testing, or I guess limit breaking, she does reveal to you that she actually did measure the temperature the first time you guys fought. The next day after you managed to hold on to it in the freezing cold, super cold liquid, she tells you that the temperature has gone up a good bit. And she even just holds up the thermometer.
Oh, damn.
Very good. Now, let us see if you can direct it. But for now, having an overflowing cup will suffice. Just be mindful where you're pouring it. And she like sort of, she doesn't have a glass in her hand, but like almost as if she has a wine glass in her hand. She like begins moving, orienting forward, left, right. So if something were overflowing, you can sort of figure out where to aim it.
Mm.
Like a hose. But it's around this point you're at like the 10-day mark of just training and doing all this shit. Amber left a while ago and stuff like that. And yeah, fun times. Fun times. Now you all
Yeah,
regroup.
Yeah,
Just hire someone else.
Don't think so.
Okay, we
Good.
did Deet, we did Morgan, we did Anushka, we did Sajar, we did Silas, we did Alsander. I think that's it. Unless we want to throw Redane in there.
I forgot Redane, you're right. Oh no.
No. We sorted Redane. Look at the bottom right corner of the map. That's the
Oh,
task
he's,
order there.
yeah, he's fine to whatever
They're
he's doing.
partying.
That's
Redane
Amber.
and Lambert are just partying.
Yeah, so I guess that means next week we're going to the carnival.
Yeah.
Which is
Not
fine.
much for fast forwarding.
I mean, like, we actually did fast forward. We just had an added goal. Oh, just
Yeah,
didn't
and to
hit
be honest,
the
I'm very,
bonus.
very proud that we managed to get it done in a session. So,
We did get it done in one session.
Yeah.
we did.
Well, this isn't the entire time skip.
Oh, shit!
It's only for the first
This
half.
first half.
Yeah, you didn't know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, our goal was to
Apparently
get
like a week
through
and
the
a
first
couple
half, as well as a whole carnival, And then the
In
second half for next
fairness,
week. So,
in fairness, a lot of the last half
ugh.
will be like certain events popping, right? So going to Delvet's hometown, because a lot of you want to go with it, that's a shared event. Going to Blair's hometown, that's a shared event, right? So, yeah. Let me just get some clerical stuff out of the way. Oh.
Oh.
I remembered something. Yeah, so when you guys regroup, Tolas, who would Tolas seek out? Who would Tolas seek out? Should you seek out America? That one's a gimme.
Isn't this how the session starts? I feel like you've said this almost exact same thing.
Yeah, but that was me trying to figure out. This was me. That was me trying to figure it out then. Now I'm redoing it now. It's the same thing.
Okay, I thought I was having fucking... what am I trying to think of?
Well, I was under the
Deja vu.
assumption that like we would get to the carnival today. She tell America. She wouldn't tell Zol.
Basso?
No.
Okay, well, there's Delta Corps. Oh, what about Blair? What about Half?
Delvin already knows. Blair.
Is Blair
Maybe
still
Blair
scary?
actually.
Oh, Blair's not that scary.
Well, that's the thing. Tolas never found Blair scary.
Really?
Tolas in her boundless happiness and optimism. Remember when you were going back up the steps?
Uh-huh.
And then you guys ran to Tolas? And she's like, oh, hi.
What's up?
Hi, how are you? Yeah, so Tolas, maybe, like, she definitely gets concerned about Blair and her, like, doing shit, but she never has found Blair, like, outright scary, like, oh my gosh, if I say the wrong thing, she'll kill me. Tolas never thought that.
Probably because low-key, I don't think Blair could. Look at Tolas. Look at Tolas.
I mean, that is one of the things that happened when Tolas ran into Blair and vice versa. Blair's like, there's this so much happiness in one bundle. What the fuck? Yeah,
Gotta get diabetes from the sweetness.
She would absolutely not tell Varric. That's sort of the problem here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so she would tell America and Blair.
But
She took
tell
Kasai.
NPCs.
She told Kasai. Which one of you... Okay, let's think about this. Which one of you has the most tact?
Alessander? Probably Alessander.
It depends on the circumstance.
Yeah,
Say,
genius
in what
level standard.
regard?
Like, you know, slap
I
the
can see a case for most. I can see a case for most of the party. No, social tact.
They could just drop it on all of us and be like, hey, I can't not talk about this, so...
No, Tolas would definitely not drop on everyone. Okay, let me ask this. It's already 6 o'clock. Do you guys still want to do one last thing? If not, then that's
I'm game.
understandable.
I mean, I'm not gonna
Sure.
lie, I'm pretty knackered. It's like half 2, but if it's reasonably quick, then yeah.